I'm gonna go over the 4 frogs you absolutely need in your bass fishing arsenal. You guys ready to get loaded? We're gonna start off with what's known as a swimming frog. And swimming frogs do not float. You retrieve these on top of the water, but what's great about a swimming frog is that you can drop it down, kind of like a jig, like a subtle jig. They have all kinds of different legs, but the one I'm using today has paddle legs. Swimming frogs really shine in open water like this. So you make a cast, you want to make sure immediately you get that rod tip up and you're retrieving. You want those legs going and just a steady retrieve. Make sure those legs are always kicking. There's one. Good fish too. He hit it immediately. Hit it immediately. All right. Easy, bud. Yeah, okay. All right. Easy. Thank you. Yeah. Not a bad one. So that one, I pretty much made a cast, started retrieving, and he hit it. It was pretty quick. So that's what you can catch when you use a swimming frog. The hook I'm using is a screw lock hook. The screw just screws right in the top of the frog right there. And this is a 5/0 hook. This is a big hook, big strong hook. You don't want to mess around when you're frog fishing. I'm using braid. This is 50-pound braid. You can even use a little bit heavier if you wanted to. There are situations where if it's clear water and you're fishing open water, you might not want to use braid. If you're worried about the fish seeing your line, you could go up to a heavier fluorocarbon. Makes a lot of sense. So that's the setup to fish this swimming frog. There we go, right in open water. Right in open water. Oh, and he threw it. Oh my gosh. The thing that's tough and what I probably messed up on right there is that you kind of have to, it's like a buzzbait or any topwater, you sort of have to let the fish kind of take it, you know. And I was a little bit kind of quick on the draw there. When that blow up occurred, I should have just kind of counted to maybe 1 or 2 seconds and then set the hook. These are really perfect conditions for a swimming frog in open water. A swimming frog is essentially like a subtle buzzbait. So when you've got cloud cover like this, you typically have more active fish. Not always, but generally you do. So they're gonna be out roaming more in open water, and a subtle buzzbait like a swimming frog can really trip their trigger in conditions like this. Oh, dang it. What? Well, it's just the way it goes sometimes. I don't think that I paused at all. So I'm being a hypocrite. Oh, wow. That's a big fish. Big fish. Wow, stay on, bud. Stay on. Big fish. He looks like he's hooked well. Looks like he's hooked well. Oh. Oh, I love that, man. Oh. They like the swimming frog. He was deep into the cattails here, and that is just a gorgeous largemouth right there. So That one had it really good. I mean, he ate the hell out of it. Oh my gosh, is that fun. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful largemouth. It's funny how that never gets old, isn't it? All right, buddy. Thank you, buddy. Up next is the poppin' frog. And a poppin' frog is great for open water. You can fish it in sparse cover, but this concave nose on this bait is gonna pop, and you can't really pop it, and it doesn't really come through thick cover very well. So this thing shines in open water and in sparser cover. I like to fish this with a trailer hook when I can. If you're in open water like this, I'm gonna throw this around the cattails, and if it's, you know, hanging up a lot, the cattails can be really a pain if you get snagged. They're really, really tough. So if I'm getting snagged a lot, I will probably take this trailer hook off. But the trailer hook's a nice insurance policy for short striking fish. You want to make sure when you buy a floating frog that that body collapses easy. There are some floating frogs on the market that have thicker plastic. I don't like those. I want a floating frog with softer plastic that mushes down easier and is easier for the fish to eat and get hooked. There's all kinds of different ways that you can retrieve a poppin' frog. If the fish are active, you can make a cast and just start popping it and going fast with it. Keep your rod tip towards the surface of the water and just pop that thing. Just keep on moving it. That's if the fish are active. And they're pretty active right now. So I'm gonna try that retrieve. And if it doesn't work, I've got a few other tricks up my sleeve I can try. There's one. There's one. All right, there we go. And that's a perfect example right there of you gotta wait. It's easier with a poppin' frog like this to wait before you set the hook than it is a swimming frog, but it's critical. And I did a pretty good job there. And if I can get him in, pretty good job there of letting him have it a second before I set the hook. You really, really got to do that. And he's got it good too. Goodness gracious, bud. I mean, he wanted it, no doubt. Okay. Good largemouth there. Not a giant, but a good one. I mean, he's thick. So the poppin' frog worked. What I've found in the heat of summer, it's hot, middle of the day, fishing's tough. You take a poppin' frog like this, you have to fish it slow. It's hard to do, but if you, like for instance, we've got this vegetation up here, and you cast to the edge of the vegetation, okay? Now it's not hot today, but in the heat of summer, bright sun, if you make a cast and you let that thing just sit, okay, this poppin' frog, just let it sit. Wait for all the ripples to subside. This is a tough thing to do because you want to make sure that you're in an area that's got fish in it. Okay, this isn't a thing that you want to try to find fish. This is a technique where you know the fish are in an area, okay, but they're not biting. If you let that thing sit, all the ripples are done now, and then pop it like twice, maybe even one time. Let it sit again. Wait for all the ripples to go away. Last summer, I had two big largemouth. I made a cast, had the frog sitting out there. I was doing something else and they blew up on it. It was completely dead sticked on top, which is something that you don't normally think of when you hear the term dead sticking, which is like basically casting like a worm or something out and just letting it sit on the bottom. Well, the same thing applies to top water. And there are times when that frog is just sitting there, they will hit it. It doesn't have to be doing anything. And you can catch some really big fish doing it when all else is failing. Golly, hello. Oh, yes. God, is that awesome. Oh my. Woo. I mean to tell you, I'm just soaked right now. He just soaked me. This guy is full of piss and vinegar right here. Unbelievable. Come here. Come here. Yes. I mean, he's got it absolutely swallowed, you know, so when you see that, you're doing the right thing, okay? Unbelievable. All right, but he has got it down there. All right, there you go, bud. All right, not a bad one at all. The popping frog is where it's at. There you go, sweet. Next up is the standard floating frog. This frog excels over thick vegetation. Now, you can fish this in open water. You can even kind of walk the dog with it. To make that happen, you got like these strands here. You cut one of the sides, so you cut one of them shorter, and that will kind of allow you to walk that better. I'm gonna fish this in thicker cover, heavier matted vegetation over here. Because we have cloud cover, these fish are most likely not going to be real thick under those mats. They're going to be roaming most likely, like what we've seen already. We're catching fish in open water. So I don't really suspect that this is going to do that great on these mats over here, but we'll try it. There's one right there. There's one. Nice. Good one too, I think. Yeah. Right at the right at the edge. Right at the edge of the vegetation. Unbelievable. Golly. So they're liking all frogs today. They don't care. They like them. Come here. Come here. Come here. Hello there. I mean, he's got it absolutely down his throat. So yeah, look at. I mean, they're not messing around today. One just, we're gonna make a cast right after this, right over there, because one just was chasing. Wow, does he have it deep? I mean, it's unreal. There he goes. Okay. Another beautiful largemouth. Walking this bait is a little bit harder than you would walk like a Zara spook or something like that. You want slack in your line. So when you make a twitch, there should be slack. So make a twitch. You want that bait to kick to the left or right, then make sure there's slack in your line, then make another twitch. And just keep up that cadence. Kick it to the side, make sure the bait kicks to the side. Make sure there's slack in your line, make another twitch. Kicks to the other side, and it's just walking back and forth. So just keep that cadence. This is kind of a sparser mat, so I'm basically just kind of twitching this thing just across the surface. And I'm not working it too fast. When you're fishing mats like this, you want the fish to have some time to get to it. So you don't want to work a bait super fast over a mat. You want the fish to be able to kind of hone in on it and nail it. And then once I get to open water here, I'm just going to kind of walk it back to me. There's one. Yes. Yeah. This is where a heavy rod really, really helps, and along with the braid. Not a giant, but very aggressive largemouth. Gosh, is that fun. That just never gets old. Man, I love doing that. God, he absolutely nailed this thing. Again, it's way down. Lord, bud, I guess you wanted it, huh? All right, that's fun. Let's get him back in the water. There you go, bud. And he's off. Yeah, the rod that you want to use for this kind of presentation is a heavy rod. You know, a heavy rod is just fine. This is actually a medium heavy. So a medium heavy or heavier rod is perfect for frog fishing. And this is I believe this is a 7 foot, 7'1". That's a good length. You can even go 7.5 if you wanted to. The braid, as I talked about earlier, is super important. You know, your heavy rod braid, it allows you to pull fish out of the heavy cover, and the braid, of course, there's no stretch. You get a really, really good hook set with the braid. So that's the setup. So admittedly, I'm a little bit late to the party on this next frog. This is a Teckle. That's the name of the company that makes this frog. This is a Sprinker frog. And what's cool about this frog is that the tail of it is like this paddle, right? It's like a foot. It reminds me of the back end of a Whopper Plopper topwater. And this thing chugs the surface. This is like a subtle buzzbait, a buzzbait that can work across thick mats. Golly! I don't know what that was, but it was giant. There we go. Oh, dang it. Oh, my Lord. Oh, wow. That was an absolutely giant northern pike. I've had such a tough time hooking fish with this thing that I'm going to try a trailer hook. And hopefully it won't affect the action. I can't, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. You cannot, I can't even believe they sell this lure. You can't hook a fish on it. You have it? I can't even letting them have the bait. I can't hook them. There's one. Pretty good one too. It's not bad. It's not bad. Not bad. All right. Come here, bud. All right. When I started this video, I was recommending 4 frogs in your bass fishing arsenal. After using the Sprinker frog today, I think I'm just gonna say 3 because this thing does not hook bass well. And unless the bass were just weird on this bait today for some reason, that really doesn't make any sense. I just think it's the way the bait is designed. And so the problem with it, never mind the trailer hook that I put back here for now, the problem with it is all the action, the movement is coming behind the hooks here, okay? This tail is flapping around, so the fish are keyed in on that tail. They hit the tail, but there's nothing there to hook them. So I put the trailer hook on, and the trailer hook I thought would be a good idea, but the problem I think with the trailer hook is that a bass grabs it, this thing's up and moving. There's a lot of places where this thing can just get hung and impede getting a good hook into a fish. So that is really, really strange. This bait had a whole lot of promise. I love the idea of a subtle buzz bait that can go over every type of cover, but it just doesn't work that good. The hook has to be like back behind this foot. That's unfortunate, but good day. Other than that, had a lot of fun. Hope you enjoyed it. If you enjoy the content here at Angling Uploaded, please subscribe. I'd really appreciate it.